Just to think, man, this guy was sitting at the table eating Thanksgiving dinner, and some Sunmen got in an argument down the street. This is what happened. And the Sunman you see in this video let off some shots. And one found this guy. I mean, God, that's a tough one, man. This one hurts, man. This brother right here, man, this hurts, man. And you know he was a hard-working family, man. It's just, God. Could you imagine if this was reversed? And this happens all the time. I need to start going to this gun memorial, and when I go to the gun memorial, I need to start clicking on the hombritos instead of clicking on the glacier gliders. Click on the hombrito, and you'll be shocked. You will be shocked. It's not as much as the gliders, but because a lot of hombritos, they take each other out a lot. But you'd be surprised how many Sunmen are responsible for tragedies like this.
There is at least some relief tonight that a suspect is now in custody. 19-year-old Kevon Clark as he was taken into custody Monday morning by U.S. Marshals in West Philadelphia. Norristown police had been searching for Clark since Thanksgiving. He's accused of shooting to death 25-year-old Eddie Paez Moctezuma, an innocent victim.
It's just heartbreaking.
One of the victim's closest friends struggling to understand why. Eddie was eating Thanksgiving dinner with his family in the 1100 block of Arch Street in Norristown when a single random shot came through a window and struck and killed him.
Having Thanksgiving dinner with his family and being shot in front of his parents and sisters and cousins, no. It's an absolute nightmare.
The criminal complaint revealing new details tonight that the suspect, Clark, was involved in a dispute hours earlier at a home a mile away over stolen alcohol. It all came.
He was involved in a dispute at a home a mile away. That's why these guys who just randomly shoot up neighbors, these Sunmen that are terrorizing the streets of the stand and shooting bullets everywhere, just for them shooting these guns haphazardly, they should have the book thrown at them. This guy was a mile away from the person he killed. Because they just shoot everywhere. Sunmen, and trust, I know a bunch of them, man. Okay? I'm not speaking like, oh, like, you know, they be, that's how they, no. I know y'all. They shooting, and they just busting shots. Sideways. Yes, they shoot sideways. They really do. It's not just a trope or a stereotype. They do. Now, don't get me wrong. These young boys, they I don't know. This young generation, they stand, even though they stand like straight and shoot. The younger generations, but they shoot. They don't shoot sideways, but they still shoot. They got these extendo clips, and they just shoot as many bullets as they can and anywhere. And they don't care who's in between them. It's bad, man. It's hard out here, man.
The suspect, Clark, was involved in a dispute hours earlier at a home a mile away over stolen alcohol. It all came to a head that night outside Clark's home when police say he opened fire in his neighborhood with one of those shots striking Moctezuma during dinner. Clark's arrest is welcome news to Eddie's family.
They're just happy that this guy was caught and he'll be brought to justice. To have this guy off the street, that's what they wanted the most.
Meanwhile, 2 GoFundMe pages have raised a combined $16,000 so far.
They can't bring Eddie back, and there's no amount of money in the world that can do that. But, any little bit can help.
And every little bit is helping. They thank so much the people who have donated. More information, again, on the GoFundMe page is available. That suspect, Clark, by the way, no bail, so he remains in custody facing charges of first and third degree murder, as well as a slew of other charges, Shayna.
All right, Brad Satin live in Norristown. Thank you, Brad.
A horrible story now. A Gage Park man was beaten to death while decorating his home for the holidays. Police say Jose Tejas was hit in the head by two people on Saturday evening. His son says he was hanging Christmas lights outside their home. The 49-year-old father of three had moved to America from Mexico.
So this guy, he's outside of his house hanging Christmas lights. And you know who rolls up. At what point, and I ask this a lot in the polls that I give you guys, attached to these comment sections. If you make sure you join me watching this as a premiere so you can watch with everyone else, you have to hit the bell notification and then click all, so you'll be notified every time I upload a premiere or I drop a video. So but on those polls, I often ask you guys, when does America, when do we all as a country get tired of this stuff? This is appalling. This hardworking man came to America, and in one generation, he's got a house. And I promise you, I worked at Home Depot for 8 years. I know a bunch of these guys. I used to speak Spanish pretty good. From in school. Spanish was something I took all through school. And then I hung out with Spanish people and they sharpened it. So by the time I was 3-4 years in working at Home Depot, I could conversate with these guys in Spanish. Okay? On a surface level. Don't get me wrong. If I overheard two Spanish guys speaking, I could catch a word here and there, but when they talking comfortably fast with each other, I ain't even gonna lie. It's rough. It would be rough for me to follow them. But when they slow talked in, broken, plain Spanish, basic, I could conversate with these guys. I know a bunch of these guys. Nothing given to if you think somebody just gave them something, and if somebody did, you can't tell because they work so hard. They work so hard. I worked in lumber, building materials. I worked with the concrete, the drywall, the spackle, the studs, the 2x4s, the installation. I worked with all that stuff. Sheetrock. I worked with all that stuff. I was working with these guys hand in hand, fixing their orders, sometimes, helping them load their orders, helping them find stuff, recommending. I never forget, it was one hombrito. And anybody who's been to the Home Depot, in Brentwood Home Depot in D.C., it's the only Home Depot in D.C., they seen this guy. One arm. I'm talking about the whole arm off. Only has one arm. And drywall, it comes in sheets. So it's two attached to each other. They come in pairs of two. And they're very heavy, and you got to use a stand-up cart, to put to wheel them, up to the cash register. and you have to pick them up and put them in the middle. It's very laborious work for two people. This guy, he wouldn't let me help him. I'd come by, let me help you. Like, no, I got it. And he had a method with one arm. He'd like flip it up, take it up, and then do it. And he'd load. He'd load however many he needed. 2x4s too. And you got to see if they straight. So like when you get a 2x4, they get warped easily because from sitting on the base. So he would check them and wouldn't give me had one arm. And he was in there every single day because he was, I guess he was in demand. His services was in demand. He was in there every day. He'd load those bags of concrete, be 60 and 80 pounds. He'd load his truck up, his little cart up with those by himself. It wouldn't let you help. He'd like, no, I got it. Don't. And after a while, you like, he know he has one arm. Like, he knows that more than anybody he has one arm. So he knows that you're like, nah. It's just like, I know a bunch of guys like this, man. This is shameful, man.
A horrible story now. A Gage Park man was beaten to death while decorating his home for the holidays. Police say Jose Tejas was hit in the head by two people on Saturday evening. His son says he was hanging Christmas lights outside their home. The 49-year-old father of three had moved to America from Mexico to start a better life for his family, and he worked as a landscaper.
My dad, he was a hard worker. He tried to give us everything we needed. He gave us what we had. He was just the best dad.
This family has started a GoFundMe to help with funeral expenses.